We're taking a closer look at one of the most significant upheavals the North American car industry has had recently. The company that powers Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram, Stellantis, has severely reduced output at key facilities in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. The offender is the Trump administration's slew of new tariffs. However, safeguarding American industry was the goal. The fallout hasn't been tidy at all. Let's review the major breakdowns that demonstrated the extent of this upheaval. Stellantis applies the brakes, causing the factory to freeze. Stellantis applies the brakes, causing the factory to freeze. Without any delay, Stellantis applied the brakes. The automaker stopped operations at its Windsor assembly factory in Canada and the Toluca site in Mexico within days of President Trump's new tariffs going into effect. Its North American approach has two pillars. Windsor has more than 4,500 employment, and Mexico has thousands more. Suddenly, the U.S. support system was in the air. With component prices rising by over 25%, the business presented these shutdowns as necessary cost-cutting measures. Executives compared continuing manufacturing to wasting money. Additionally, Stellantis withdrew their financial projection for 2025 and initiated a comprehensive examination of capital expenditures. Losses grew behind the scenes. Reports from May revealed a 64% decline in operating profits and $6 billion in cash lost, primarily from operations in the United States. A change in leadership was indicated by the dismissal of CEO Carlos Tavares. According to industry insiders, this goes beyond damage control. It's a storm of tariffs covering up deeper restructuring. While competitors like Ford and GM increased their local hiring efforts, union leaders are not buying it either, accusing Stellantis of poor management. Is this retreating or resetting? Further up the supply chain, however, the real test starts when the factories stop. See how global sourcing became a problem instead of an asset. Gridlock in the global supply chain, the weakest link. Gridlock in the global supply chain, the weakest link. Automakers benefited greatly from cross-border Concord for many years. Mexican parts at a discount, Canadian advanced technology. Final gathering in the United States. It ran well and cost-effectively until Trump's tariffs put a stop to it. A 25% tariff and a 10% baseline caused expenses to soar and operations to stop. Consider the Jeep Compass, which was constructed in Mexico using components sourced from Ontario and Indiana. Because of its skyrocketing cost per unit, rather than a lack of demand, Stellantis was forced to stop production. Nissan put the U.S. orders for its Q Series, which was constructed in Mexico. Volkswagen added taxes on imports. The impact spread quickly and widely. Even stamping facilities in Michigan and transmission factories in Indiana had to reduce their operations. Antonio Valencia, CEO of Stellantis, described their supply chain as a weakness. Other automakers, including as Mercedes and Volvo, are accelerating U.S. production, while the Brampton facility in Canada halted planned enhancements. Growth. In order to receive USMCA tariff relief, Stellantis is moving its vehicle manufacturing to the United States. However, retooling plants and rewriting contracts are not a quick cure. Until then, the new normal continues to include anxious investors and customer delays that leave lots unfilled. Please hit the like button and subscribe to Piston Pundit before we discuss how these interruptions are affecting Stellantis' most cherished brands. We put you in control by breaking down the most difficult turns in the automotive industry. 3. Under pressure, Ram, Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep fight to stay ahead. Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram face pressure to keep up. Due to production issues and declining inventory, the Stellantis powerhouses Jeep, Dodge, Chrysler, and Ram are experiencing a crisis with their brand identity. What had stood for tough dependability and American strength now runs the risk of becoming associated with disappointment and delays. Jeep completely stopped producing the Compass, and manufacturers of the Wrangler and Grand Cherokee are struggling with expensive imported parts. Dealerships now resemble ghost villages rather than gearhead havens due to an 80% decrease in Jeep inventory, according to some dealers. Fans of the Charger and Challenger are in a state of uncertainty due to manufacturing slowdowns at Dodge Brampton. Brand loyalty is being eroded by canceled bespoke orders, such as the one Michigan buyers lost Scat Pack. Chrysler's Pacifica, which was made in Windsor, is also in danger. Families and rideshare drivers have been drawn to the Chrysler 300 and Toyota and Honda alternatives as a result of shutdowns. Another fiscal quarter might not be its last. Ram's final assembling in Michigan are dependent on supplies from Canada and Mexico. These days, some rural dealers barely get 4 Ram 1500 per month, freaking out contractors and raising the cost of used trucks. Without quick localization, the grim reality Stellantis' brand equity might completely stagnate, which would put pressure on the company's identity. It's directly affecting the customer experience, particularly in terms of cost. Wallet warning: buyers are affected by price increases and loan rejections. Wallet warning: buyers are affected by price increases and loan rejections. This problem is more than just a news story. It is directly affecting drivers' financial well-being. Analysts now caution that the average price of a new car might increase by $2,000 to $4,000. Models from Stellantis, such as the Jeep Compass, have already increased in price from $28,000 to over $32,000. The Ram 1500 is slowly surpassing $50,000. It's sticker shock. Go directly to the finance office. Even for highly qualified candidates, the number of loan denials is increasing as lenders respond to rising car prices and more constrained household budgets. First-time buyers are becoming more and more expensive, and monthly payments are rising. Additionally, used cars aren't providing any respite. Once selling for $24,000, a Dodge Charger is currently listed for about $29,000. Essential workers and entry-level consumers are being completely squeezed out. In an effort to maintain its position, Ford is retaliating by raising employee prices. But even that won't be sufficient if tariffs increase. According to certain dealerships, showroom traffic has decreased by 40%. Others are reducing their advertising budgets and delaying plans for growth while putting R&D and recruiting on hold. Stellantis is caught in a vicious cycle of declining sales, growing pricing, and waning customer loyalty. It might even be the industry's way out. Let's examine how electrification is doing in the current unstable environment. 5. Electric aspirations, geopolitical upheavals, EVs, and trade unrest. Geopolitical upheavals, electric hopes, EVs, and trade chaos. For the U.S. car industry, electric vehicles were previously thought to be the solution to the future. Domestically constructed, less intertwined with foreign supply systems, and cleaner. However, GM's Factory Zero in Detroit is encountering obstacles because, to reality, despite $20,000 in discounts, the demand for the Hummer, EV, and Silverado EV dried up, leading to hundreds of people being laid off. Buyers are being turned off by high sticker prices, inadequate charging infrastructure, and lengthy wait periods. Not even Stellantis is immune. Due to supply problems and components with tariff tags, the Charger Daytona EV and Pacifica plug-in hybrid have been put on hold. Executives are rushing to revise sourcing plans worldwide, which has put a halt to production. The situation is getting hotter. China imposed a 125% tariff on a number of American products. Due to financial difficulties, some cargo shipments are being canceled in the middle of their journey, destroying international logistics and confidence in order to retaliate. In order to comply with the USMCA, Stellantis is shifting truck production to American territory and increasing domestic content. However, retooling requires time, and each delay could undermine customer trust. Even Europe is cooling on EVs in the meanwhile. Mercedes and Volvo are lowering their targets, suggesting that the EV boom may slow before it reaches its zenith. Where does Stellantis proceed from here with all these changes? Let's make everything work together. Conclusion: reverse in progress or reset in motion. Conclusion: reverse in progress or reset in motion. Is Stellantis simply going into reverse, or is it preparing for a deliberate reboot? Significant brand disruptions, halted earnings forecasts, and changes in leadership. They are undoubtedly at a pivotal moment. With prices skyrocketing, availability dwindling, and loyalty eroding, the stakes are high. Customers are reconsidering their decisions. Formerly renowned for their strength and dependability, Ram, Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler are currently enmeshed in a global supply shortage and political uncertainty. It's more than a hiccup. It's a wake-up call for the entire industry. Will Stellantis react creatively and nimbly or become obsolete? What do you think, gearheads? Is this the start of a long-term slide, or do you think Stellantis can recover? In spite of the confusion, would you continue to purchase from Dodge, Ram, or Jeep? Are local supply constraints or price increases having an impact on you? Leave a comment with your opinions, complaints, or gearhead hot takes. All of them were read by us. Gearhead hot takes. All of them were read by us.